nerds, what's up? Today we are going to be talking about the books that I read in the months of February and March of 2016. First, we need a fact of the day. It's coming from my anthropology of gender class once again because I find it all very fascinating. The general consensus usually is that sex is biological while gender is. I read this article about how both sex and gender are cultural. I found this to be very hard to wrap my head around. What it breaks down to is the idea that yes, every individual has a body that has parts to it. There isn't just one, two, or maybe three if you call intersex one sex. There's things that exist in the world. We clump everything in the middle together, and that's not necessarily accurate. Biologically, there's lots of different ways to create non-binary sexes. There's XY and XX, of course those are girl and boy, but you've also got XXY, XXX, XXXY, XXXX. So there's lots of different biological chromosomal situations that can occur. These terms that we give biology, male, female, all of that is still cultural. So yes, there's this thing that exists in the world. We all have bodies, we all have different parts. Then on top of that, we put this cultural ideal of what is sex. And then on top of that, we put this other cultural idea on what a boy does and what a girl does. How do they act? What is accurate in the way they present themselves to the world? It hurts my brain. It's more of a theory of the day, but I find it really fascinating. Let's do this wrap up and TBR video. For the month of February, my challenge was start a new series, which I did so a few times. I started both the Truthwitch series, which is a brand new series, and I think it's going to be a trilogy, but I'm not sure. And I also started the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy and finished the first one. Oh, this is the cover of Daughter of Smoke and Bone, but this is the actual book. The first book I finished in the month of February. I was reading through February and then I finished like the day after, and that was Pivot Point by Casey West. I gave this book a full 5 out of 5 stars. It was phenomenal. I got this from the library and it was such a good story. I highly recommend it. It is so underrated. It is about a girl who lives in the world where there are normal people like you and me, but there are also people who have superpowers basically, and they live in a compound lived together where it's all secret and hidden from the normal world. Her particular power is the ability to see the two different futures that will occur if she is given a choice. And if she makes one choice or the other, how will that occur? And so at the very beginning of the story, her parents are getting a divorce, and her dad decides to leave the supernatural compound and go live in the normal world, and her mom is staying here. So she has to make the choice of who she's going to go live with. Sorry if you can hear sounds, Hedwig is playing with himself in the mirror. The whole book is showing you the two different choices that she faces and what will happen if she takes one and what will happen if she takes the other. You don't know what's actually going to happen. You don't find out until the very end which one she chooses and all that stuff. It is riveting. I thoroughly enjoyed it. There is a sequel. I have not read it yet, but I plan to, and it's so good. The next book I picked up was a book that I was sent for review by the author, and it was Shearwater Part 1 by Derek Murphy. I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars. It was good, it just was only part 1 of the entire book. He didn't send me the whole book, and I was unaware of that when I was into reading it, and so we get to the climax and then it ends and I was so upset. I did have some issues with the story, I had some issues with some of the plot, but overall I really did enjoy it. It was a little bit tropey, but I really liked the mermaid aspect. It was something I had never seen. It's about this girl who ends up having to move to Ireland because her family dies in a car accident, and her mother's will gives her guardianship to her grandfather, who she didn't even know existed, and he lives in Ireland. And it turns out that she's a mermaid. I'm interested definitely to read the rest of the novel when it comes out, which comes out in October of this year. The next book I finished was Daughter of Smoke and Bone, which I only have the box set right here. Gave it a full 5 out of 5 stars as well. I actually listened to this on audiobook. The audiobook is phenomenal. It has so many good accents. It is about a girl named Carew who doesn't know exactly where she came from. She knows that she is a part of this supernatural world of some sort because her guardian is this guy who looks like has an alligator head and a snake body or something, and he's got horns, and he doesn't ever come into the human world. She is sent out into the world to do his bidding. The next book that I picked up was Truthwitch by Susan Dennard. This is a new book about a girl named Safiya and her best friend named Isolt, and they end up on this adventure. They're being hunted by a guy with some superpowers that can smell their blood, and it is very hidden and mystery. Very intense fantasy book. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's just really hard to explain. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It was a first book in a high fantasy series, so it was hard to grasp everything that was happening, but I really, really enjoyed it. Highly recommend. It was so, so, so good. The March challenge was to read a massive book, and I think that 600 plus pages does it for me. I've also been reading Layer of Dreams by Libba Bray. I'm not quite done with it. Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. 5 out of 5 stars. Love it so much. Cassie Clare knows how to tear you apart, but also build you back up and then tear you apart again. There are lots of twists and turns in this story. This is the first book in the Dark Artifices trilogy. It is about Emma Carstairs and Julian Blackthorne, who are parabatai, who are falling in love, which is illegal in the Shadowhunters world. I first have to say that although this is the first book in a new trilogy, you definitely need to read The Mortal Instruments and the Infernal Devices, especially if you plan on reading those already and don't want to be spoiled, because this book spoils the ends of both of those series. So if you want to not be spoiled, read those first. There's so many characters in this, and they all feel very delved into, developed, and real, which I really highly enjoy. I really, really enjoyed this book and highly, highly, highly recommend anything by Cassie Clare, because it was just gorgeous. I just want to hug it. Have reviews on every single book that I read in 2016, as well as these particular books, up on my blog. So I will link my blog down below, and I will link any of these books that I do have book talks or reviews on. Make sure to go check that out if you're interested in learning more about these books. Some of them are spoiler free, some of them are spoilers, but I always warn beforehand on any social media before I get into spoilers. Before we go, we have to pick my April challenge. Read a childhood book, specifically a reread. Yay! I'm so excited about it. I don't know where any of my childhood books are because I just redid my shelves. I might read A Wrinkle in Time. I might read Tithe by Holly Black. I could read Harry Potter, which I just got new books of those, so maybe I'll do that. I don't know. I don't have decisions made. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Comment down below what books you read this month, or what books you read in the last 2 months. And what did you rate them? What do you like? What don't you like? Do you like these books? Do you want to read them? Have you read them? All of those good things. Just talk to me. I need friends. Okay,